1245. Restate my assumptions. 1. Mathematics is the language of nature. 2. Everything around us can be represented and understood through numbers. 3. If you graph the numbers of any system, patterns emerge. Therefore, there are patterns everywhere in nature.
This is insanity, Max.
Or maybe it's genius.
You only gave us part of the code.
You are only a vessel of our God.
So, you guys, I'm sure most of you have heard that the CEO of United Healthcare was shot down in New York City. Heard a lot of theories on why people think it's happened. Who knows exactly what happened, but I did a little bit of research and I found some very interesting things. And it's honestly shocking, and it's something that I've been talking about for over a year. So I want to start with the video of the guy. So a lot of people are comparing this dude to the Jackal. There's a new show, I forget where it is. I watched it, it's actually pretty good. But they think he's like a contract killer or an assassin or something like that. Here's what I will say to that. The guy clearly did not cycle a ton of rounds through this gun. Did the homework as far as which ammo worked best with the suppressor he's using, because his gun jams pretty much after every shot. I'm not sure exactly what the malfunction was. It probably was a feeding issue based on what I can see, but who knows, maybe the casings weren't ejecting. It could be 15 million different things. But as far as like, oh man, this guy was some contracted dude, I don't know. It's hard to believe that. That being said, let's watch the video here.
Yo, you already know where you at. Back in my bag. About to break down the script. This isn't an introduction video on Gematria. That's a fact. So, plenty of videos to watch on YouTube to catch a game on this Gematria decoding. So we're gonna jump straight into this script that we got broken down here with the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, right? He was shot, murdered in Manhattan in public on a Wednesday morning. Here you gonna see, and everything I'm giving you is from news articles, news reports, everything you see on television. This isn't anything that I'm making up or reaching for. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue and give y'all the script. About to get in my bag, and let's break this shit down. So we got United Healthcare CEO with the 177 and the Jesuit order with the 177. Already with some strong numbers, and if you know, you know, like the Society of Jesus, the 187, and the man who was shot and murdered, Brian Thompson, equals 187. Now you gonna see they're gonna put it out there that United Healthcare CEO was fatally shot in New York. There you see, fatally shot equals 5'9". He was shot in front of the Hilton Hotel, which is equals 5'9", and NYPD to cover it with the 5'9". Here you got an article saying by Dr. Susan Constantine. If you know Constantine, the story of Constantine, you already know where we're going with this. Everything is biblical when these numbers is broken down. They say that the gunman's height and shoe size was 5'9". His height was 5'9". Now there you see the NYPD, 5'9". Hilton Hotels, 5'9". Fatally shot, 5'9". Bringing us to the Jesuits and the Vatican and the Catholic Church with the 132, 246, and they are calling him the masked attacker. 132, 246, double cipher matching the Catholic Church. Here you see the killing at dawn. Again, I'm not making this shit up. Killing at dawn with the 5679, matching a double cipher with the Society of Jesus, 5679. Can't make this shit up. Continue this breakdown with witchcraft with the 111, 159, Hilton Hotel, 111, 159, and New York with the 111, 59. not making any of this up. Again, more breakdown on this gematria. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, so forth. Go peep game and learn your gematria. So New York 11133, just like witchcraft 111, and we have this brazen with the 33. This isn't a word that I'm just digging in the dictionary to put out here. This is the word brazen that they decide to put out in public for you. So spellcasting 137, 187, 70. Yes, the 187 is gonna be strong because we all know that's the Jesuits' number. And also the penal code for murder and homicide. Society of Jesus with the 187. His name Brian Thompson with the 187, 70 matching spellcasting. And Killing at Dawn 137 to match the spellcasting as well. Again, the 187 strong Jesuit number with the Society of Jesus. The founder Ignatius Loyola, right? And this is another tribute for Rockefeller, the Rockefeller Center, because Rockefeller himself is going to equal 187, just like Spellcasting Society of Jesus and Brian Thompson. And Silencer with the 8540, fatally shot with the 40, and Manhattan, New York, where this shooting went down, was 85 matching Silencer. He was shot with a silencer. We all know 187. Penal code for homicide and murder. Rockefeller with the 187. This is the same day going down at the Rockefeller Center where they was gonna do the Christmas tree lighting. The same day, right? The Christ Mass, the ceremony for the tree lighting. United Healthcare CEO with the 177 to match the Jesuit order, 177 to match shot in Manhattan. This is where it went down in Manhattan. And the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, was shot in Manhattan to solidify the 177. The masked gunman is what they're calling this man, and masked gunman with the 201. If you know anything about these videos that we do, the 201 is strong. Event 201, the Pope sleeps in room 201 in the Domus Sante Marte. However it goes, you know the routine if you've been here before. Alright, the 201. Also to follow with the 201, like Bob Lee, who last year was stabbed to death in front of an apartment unit 201, which is now up for sale. This also broke the same day as this Brian Thompson murder. Bob Lee's trial began on this same day. And they also say that he was dead on arrival, which equals 124, which can be written out 12/4, December 4th, right? I seen them say he was dead on arrival, then he went to, I believe it was Roosevelt Hospital, which they announced him dead. So the United Healthcare CEO 177 with the 102. The Jesuit Order 177. Marriott Hotel equals 177. Most Hiltons are a Marriott Hotel, or it's just a Marriott. So you see the comparison, you see the coincidence, right? For all you coincidence theorists out there. Shot in Manhattan again with the 177. And 6th Avenue where the shit took place equals 102, like United Healthcare CEO. The 102, also the 201 in reverse. I'ma keep this rolling, y'all. I'ma keep this rolling. I'm in my bag, breaking down the script, doing what I do. Execution with the 44, the shooting 44. This is the number that they always stamp. And he was shot in the leg and the chest. You could check it out with more news articles and more news broadcasting. They're gonna say the chest and leg, which equals 44. This was a kill, 44. December 4th, there's that 4 again. and again the lighting of the tree, the Christmas tree ceremony at Rockefeller Center. This happened on a Wednesday morning, and Wednesday equals 44.
I'm Rabbi Cohen. Kohen, like you. I'm sorry for what Lenny did. He's been reprimanded. It's not our way. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Max, you have to give us the number.
What is it?
The Talmud tells us it began 2,000 years ago when the Romans destroyed the Second Temple.
What is this?
Max, you will understand everything if you listen. The Romans also destroyed our priesthood, the Kohanim. And with their deaths, they destroyed our greatest secret. In the center of the temple was the heart of the Jewish life, the Holy of Holies. It was the earthly residence for our God, the one God. It housed the Ark of the Tabernacle, which stored the original 10 Commandments which God gave to Moses. Only one man was allowed to enter this Holy of Holies on one day, the holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur. On the Day of Atonement, all of Israel would descend upon Jerusalem to watch the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, make his trip into the Holy of Holies. If the high priest was pure, he would emerge moments later and we were secured a prosperous year. It meant that we were 1 year closer to the Messianic age. But if he was impure, he would die instantly, and it meant that we were doomed. The high priest had one ritual to perform in the Holy of Holies. He had to intone a single word.
Yeah?
That word was the true name of God.
So the Jesuit order with the 14472, just like Hitman for Hire 14472. Why am I saying this is a Hitman for Hire? Because the news is telling you that this was a targeted attack. This was pre-planned. It was premeditated. You know what I mean? He's wearing the hoodie. They're calling him the assassin. You know, everyone knows the Assassin's Creed and the Jesuits within the Assassin's Creed story. This went down in New York. So we're pretty sure New York Times is going to cover this, right? New York Magazine, Times Square, all this Times Square, New York Times, Time Magazine. It's all symbolic to Saturn, all right? So this is how they're going to venerate Saturn coming up for the winter solstice and Saturnalia. With that being said, you get the Society of Jesus with the 187, Brian Thompson with the 187, and Winter Solstice with the 187. So this is to venerate Saturn, Saturnalia, the winter solstice, 187 with the penal code, and homicide, murder. This is how they get down. I'm just giving y'all the script. There you see the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. Same day this was going down, y'all. The same day the murder went down in Manhattan was the same day they was gonna do the ceremony with the Christmas tree lighting. The same day this man was shot in Manhattan is the same day Bob Lee's, who was stabbed to death, trial began. They also, breaking news on the Bob Lee story where they're saying that the knife that was used, he had just sniffed some cocaine before that incident. So, follow the script. Shout out to the whole True Seeker, the whole Gematria community, Zachary K. Hubbard, Gematria Effect News, Gematria Effect Sports. Shout out to Simple Truth TV. I mean, this is Bruce Lee. You know that is silent for those who fight opposite of what's violent. Catch the rest of this breakdown. Watch the news and all that other shit. Watch the video. Back to the shadows. I'm Ghost.
We must pay homage The ancient Japanese considered the Go board to be a microcosm of the universe. Although, when it is empty, it appears to be simple and ordered. The possibilities of gameplay are endless. They say no two Go games have ever been alike, just like snowflakes. So, the Go board actually represents an extremely complex and chaotic universe. And that is the truth of our world, Max. It can't be easily summed up with math. There is no simple pattern.
But as a Go game progresses, the possibilities become smaller and smaller. The board does take on order. Soon all the moves are predictable.
And so?
So maybe, even though we're not sophisticated enough to be aware of it, there is a pattern, an order, underlying every Go game. Maybe that pattern is like the pattern in the stock market. The Torah. This 216 number.
This is insanity, Max.
Or maybe it's genius. I have to get that number.
Hold on, you have to slow down. You're losing it. You have to take a breath. I mean, listen to yourself. You're connecting a computer bug I had with a computer bug you might have had and some religious hogwash. If you want to find the number 216 in the world, you will be able to find it everywhere. 216 steps from your street corner to your front door. 216 seconds you spend riding on the elevator. When your mind becomes obsessed with anything, you will filter everything else out and find that thing everywhere. 320, 450, 22, whatever. You've chosen 216 and you will find it everywhere in nature. But Max, as soon as you discard scientific rigor, you're no longer a mathematician. You're a numerologist.
We must pay homage to him.
First, we start with Chanley Painter with the latest on the manhunt happening right now.
Hey, good morning, Todd. So we are learning that the shooter may have left a message on evidence found at the scene where 50-year-old Brian Thompson was gunned down yesterday morning outside a New York City hotel. Police releasing this chilling surveillance video showing Thompson in the blue blazer as a masked man walks up behind him, raising his handgun. We paused the video right before several shots were fired at close range.
I want to be clear. At this time, every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
After the assassination, the gunman escaped through an alleyway before hopping on an e-bike and disappearing into Central Park. Police are still searching for the man, releasing these images of the suspect taken at a Starbucks right before the shooting. And now we are learning some clues as to a possible motive found on evidence at the scene. According to the New York Post, quote, the NYPD is investigating the possible message, which appears to include the words deny, depose, and defend written on live rounds and shell casings left behind by the masked assassin. The United Healthcare CEO is or was in New York for an investors conference. He was a father and a husband from Minnesota. His wife telling Fox this, quote, Brian was an incredibly loving, generous, talented man who truly lived life to the fullest and touched so many lives. Most importantly, Brian was an incredibly loving father to our two sons and will be greatly missed. She also told NBC News that before the shooting, her husband had received threats related to his job leading America's largest private insurer. And the shooting also comes as Thompson and several other senior executives are reportedly under investigation by the DOJ for selling a combined $101.5 million in shares just 2 weeks before news of a federal antitrust probe went public back in February. Crime Stoppers is now offering a $10,000 reward for information on the gunman. And get this, New York Post also reporting that the police obtained the suspect's Starbucks trash he threw away, Todd, so they may actually have his DNA.
Chanley Painter, so many unanswered questions. We appreciate it. Let's bring in retired New York detective Vincent Marr to try and answer some of them. As a retired detective, what evidence are you honing in on right now?
Well, right now they're doing a canvas of the entire area. They're doing a 5, 10, 20 canvas, which means a 5-block radius. They're going to pick every piece of forensics, every piece of video, every piece of audio evidence. Then they're going to expand that to 10-block radius, and they're going to expand that to 20. Anybody who's come in and out of that area, they're going to know who that person is. Facial recognition, they're going to go through trash cans, alleyways. They're not going to leave one stone unturned. This new DNA evidence possibly is going to be a serious case breaker, especially if the DNA is on record. They also recovered rounds. Rounds can be traced back to a particular weapon if a weapon is found. So they have a lot of good clues to start the investigation on and going forward. So it's a good start, but it's going to be a long road travel to solve this case.
In your experience, though, what's jumping out to you as, ooh, I want to find out more about this piece of evidence, that piece of evidence, as sort of the linchpin that could bring everything together and ultimately find the shooter?
Well, we believe, the public believes, and based on the video, that possibly a silencer was used on the weapon. Now, that's a huge piece of evidence, because silencers are not something you just go in any gun store and purchase. You have to file for a federal tax stamp to own that silencer. You have to get an ATF background check to purchase that silencer. That's if it was purchased legally. Now, again, they're going to go through all the records. They're going through all the records of that right now with the ATF, I'm sure. But unfortunately, there's also, thanks to YouTube, people can create their own silencers, their own makeshift homemade silencers, and that's the case, and it's not legal silencers, can be hard to trace.
From the moment we heard about this crime, everybody wants to know why. Why did this happen? So how do police, in a situation like this, begin to whittle down the possible motives? We have these bullet shells reportedly with words written on them or engraved in them. We have an investigation by the feds into this CEO who was shot. We also have an industry, insurance, that creates a lot of enemies. I mean, everybody watching this has probably had a problem with their insurance company at one time or another. Rarely, if ever, has it led to somebody trying to kill an executive at said insurance company. And again, we're not saying that's what happened here, but it certainly has led to speculation. So how do you begin to whittle down the possible motives in an effort to find this shooter?
Well, being that the attack looked seemingly so precise and so particular towards an individual, it obviously looked like it was planned. You're going to go through your MSRs as far as motives. That MSRs, your money, sex, revenge. That's going to be the three. That's going to be the biggest routes they're going to go first. Unfortunately, a lot of these crimes like this, that's exactly what they're connected to. I'm not saying it is, but I know the detectives are really pounding the pavement and going down those avenues, as well as every other branch of the evidence tree to try to find out what was the motive of this.
Are you confident they will catch this shooter? And based upon the evidence, when do you think they'll catch him?
Well, we can't put a timeline on that, but I know that the New York City Police Department detectives are, as they say and are they known, are the best detectives in the world. I worked with some of these homicide guys when I was on the job, and the homicide guys are the best of the world. If anybody's going to find out and get to the root of this evil, it's going to be them.
It appears as if there is a trail. Now, your former colleagues have to connect the dots to find out who did this and why. Vincent, appreciate your time and your insight on this case that is shocking the nation right now.
CEO of United Healthcare, the largest health insurance company in the United States by revenue, was fatally shot today. His leadership in one of the country's most powerful healthcare companies wasn't without controversy. Here's what you need to know. First is the antitrust investigation and insider trading scandal. February of this year, the Department of Justice launched an antitrust investigation into United Health Group's alleged anti-competitive practices. In a related shareholder lawsuit, Brian Thompson, along with several other United Health Group executives, were accused of insider trading. The day the investigation became public, he actually sold $1.5 million in stocks. And just a few days prior, on February 16th, he also netted $15.1 million in sold stocks. In 2021, United Healthcare also sparked national backlash after proposing a policy that would deny coverage for non-emergency ER visits. This sparked so much backlash, United Healthcare ended up shelving the controversial policy. Another scandal in 2023 when lawsuits revealed that United Healthcare used an AI model with a 90% error rate to deny coverage for elderly patients. This resulted in patients being kicked out of rehabilitation programs and care facilities, forcing them to drain their life savings for needed care. Another controversial event was the provider network fallout this past summer. Health Partners, a major healthcare provider, cut ties with United Healthcare, alleging that there were too many denials or delays and interference of patient care. Health Partners stated, quote, "At times, this denial rate has been up to 10 times higher than other insurers we work with." DOJ investigations to AI-driven care denials. Brian Thompson's leadership was far from controversy-free. With his shocking death today, the impact on United Healthcare and the healthcare industry remains to be seen. Shoot me a follow if you want to stay up to date.
Yeah, we got to talk about this a little bit because there's a lot.
We're getting brand new photos of the suspected gunman behind the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now you can see the suspect on your screen right now, to the left of your screen without a mask and smiling. To the right, a little bit more of his facial features from the lower half. And at this hour, the manhunt is still actively underway, and investigators are still trying to piece together a possible motive. And now a new report revealing that chilling messages were discovered on the bullet casings found at the scene. Alexis McAdams has the latest, has been following this since minute one. Alexis, what have we been learning?
Hey, Emily. Well, we know, right, from being around here right near Fox News headquarters, there are lots of cameras here in Midtown Manhattan. And there are also some cameras nearby in the Upper West Side where I'm told by a police source those new videos and photos were taken. So I want to pull them up there on your screen because you can really see this guy's face now. The New York Post is reporting that those photos were taken at a nearby hostel where they believe this gunman was staying. As you mentioned, he's got that green jacket on and the black mask pulled down. That matches what he was wearing the morning of this shooting just yesterday when he killed this father of two and husband. That was exactly the jacket. And then you can see him there too, where the hood's pulled down a little bit and he's got a backpack on. Back out here live, there's new pieces of evidence that just keep rolling in. So for everyone watching at home that weren't sure if they were going to be able to track this killer down, they're getting pretty close to it from what we're hearing on the ground because they have his face. And then they also have some DNA evidence that they're working on to process, we're told by two police sources. But one of the things, Emily, that's new is that there were some etched in markings and messages on those bullets that were found here at the Hilton behind me. Pull those up there. That's deny, depose, and defend. Those were the words that they're saying from the police department they found on the shell casings left behind. The words are similar to a title of a book that condemns the insurance business. The book is called Delay, Deny, and Defend, so it's a little bit different, but you kind of get the gist there. It was written back in 2010 and just rips the insurance industry for their lack of coverage for many Americans. The shooting was caught on camera. That was the first initial evidence they had in the case. You can see the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, walking there. Then he shot. We freeze it, but he was actually hit in the leg. He kind of turned around and looked at that gunman. The guy didn't stop shooting. He shot him again, this time in the chest. We were told he was waiting there for Brian Thompson. I want to pull up some new other photos that we've been getting into the newsroom. This is the gunman there for anyone watching at home that might recognize him. He was at a Starbucks before he went to this shooting scene. We were told he bought a drink, threw something out in the trash, and that's what they're using right now to try and go through that evidence to track him down. Brian Thompson led one of the biggest health insurers in the country. He worked for United Healthcare for about 20 years. The 50-year-old was a dad of two young boys who are in high school out in Minneapolis area, and he was also a husband. Thompson was only supposed to be here in New York for a couple of days because he was supposed to speak at this Investors Day conference at the Hilton Hotel in Midtown, and his visit ended here with his death. And back out here live, you just gotta think too for a second, we're right before the holidays in New York City and all across the country, and this mom and these two sons find out, Emily, in Minneapolis, their dad's not coming home from a business trip. He left to fly here on Monday. So it's really a sad situation as we do try to track this killer down. He did have threats against him. Outlets were told by his wife. What were those threats? Were they about his job? Were they about United Healthcare? We're not sure just yet, Emily.
Yeah, Alexis, devastating for the family, frightening for those of us here in New York City. We know you are on it. You are on that breaking news and with your tight sources there at NYPD and beyond. So we'll be sure to check back in as developments arise, Alexis. Haley, all right, so we know now, and then so much we don't know now as well. What are your thoughts?
So the New York Times obtained surveillance video that shows this individual being in the area for about 10 minutes before. Picks up the Starbucks, as Alexis said, bought a drink. Who buys a drink and then says, let's go off someone or kill someone? Like this is a deranged person. And we know kills Brian Thompson at 6:46 a.m. My question is, how did he know Brian Thompson was going to be walking down the street? How did he know that Brian Thompson was staying at a hotel across the street and be walking into the Hilton? How did he know? Maybe Cheryl knows she's...
Actually, it's
well, we know it was Investor Day, but how do you know he's not staying at the Hilton Hotel for the Investor Day? But he seemed to have some awareness.
Because he was right by the hotel. And that individual, according to the NYPD, had been, in the surveillance video, had been waiting outside for some time, out in the cold, at least. So waiting, and knew exactly he knew who the target was, let's be clear. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to...
But no, how did he know where he was staying is my question. At the hotel across the street versus at the Investors Company.
Yeah, there's so many questions. And we live here. I mean, it's frightening. Yeah. And that was before a million people came for the Rockefeller tree lighting. This is a huge insurance company. Yeah. And there's a lot of theories floating around.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we're not going to speculate, but I mean, yes, of course, working at the largest insurance company in America, it was a personal vendetta. Nobody goes up and point blank assassinates somebody on the street unless you're out to get that person. Whether they knew each other, that's questionable. We don't obviously know. I will say this, the NYPD will find this guy if he hasn't committed suicide already. That theory has actually floated around that he could have potentially committed suicide by now. But he's not like the egotistic type of killer, like school shooters who basically want to die by death by cop, where they will, confront a cop and they want to go out in a blaze. That's not this guy. Yeah. And is he a trained assassin? Well, he was pretty good on the gun because he was able to fix it in seconds after it jammed. But all of his footsteps basically leave such a trail that he's not a professional assassin. So there's a lot to be gleaned from this.
Yeah, I think they keep putting his picture up there. They're going to find him. There are too many people that will recognize him, given those photos. The NYPD is the best. Yep. They got the best on the case. Give them a few more hours or a few more days. They'll find him. They'll get him. They'll capture him.
There's a DOJ landscape here too, Cheryl.
There is. There's a couple of things there. First off, Brian Thompson, like many executives of large corporations, usually travels with security. He had traveled with security. He didn't have security yesterday morning. He was set to take the stage just after 8. There was a big the breakfast was happening at the Hilton. That's one thing. The other side of this, though, is that back in April at their company headquarters, there was a huge protest. And it was a very organized protest. It was large. And it was basically, they were saying it was about claims denial. I want to point that out in all of this. And real quick, as far as the DOJ side, Brian Thompson and several of his colleagues, including the chairman of the company, they made some stock sales back in February, 2 weeks, and this is according to Crain's New York Business, 2 weeks before the antitrust DOJ action was actually announced. There's a lot of other pieces to this story that are unfolding.
Well, we will keep you updated on it all as they develop and as we solidify these facts. Now, hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.